Good evening, and welcome. Tonight, we invite you to set aside the worries of the day and gently drift into a world long past, a world shaped by duty, by honor, and by struggle, the world of the medieval knight. You've likely heard the romantic tales, gleaming armor, noble quests, and chivalric codes whispered in song and story. But beneath the polished surface of legend lies a much quieter, harsher reality, a life that was far more exhausting, far more dangerous, and far less glamorous than many imagine. As you listen, allow the gentle rhythm of this journey to lull you into relaxation. You need not stay alert. Simply let the steady cadence of history carry you along. If sleep comes, let it. If your mind drifts, that is perfectly fine. This is history designed not to demand your attention, but to softly accompany your rest. We will begin, as always, with daily life, the quiet, often punishing existence of the knights themselves. Segment 1. Why it sucked to be a medieval knight. Imagine yourself waking before dawn. The room around you is cold, the air heavy, with the dampness of the stone walls that surround you. The small chamber offers little comfort, only a simple bed, coarse linen, and perhaps a modest chest for your few belongings. A single narrow window lets in the faintest glow of morning light, filtered through the heavy fog that often blanketed the countryside. You are a knight, but not yet the gallant figure of legend. Instead, your day begins as most of your days do, with obligation. The first sounds you hear are the soft shuffle of servants preparing the household for the day, and the distant clatter of the stable hands tending to the horses. The air carries the faint scent of damp hay, mingled with the smoky aroma of last night's dying hearth. Training is not a choice. It is your duty. The morning hours are filled with exercises to keep your body sharp. Sword drills, practiced endlessly, leave your arms sore, muscles burning from repetition. You strike wooden posts wrapped in straw again and again, refining the angle, the speed, the precision of your blade. Each movement must become instinctive, for hesitation in battle is often fatal. And then there is the armor, heavy, restrictive, and suffocating. Full plate armor, when you are fortunate enough to afford it, weighs between 45 and 60 pounds. Not unbearable at first, but exhausting over time. The metal plates clink and shift with every step, each movement a negotiation between protection and mobility. As you train, your breathing grows labored beneath the enclosed helmet, the warm air circulating back into your lungs. The armor must be meticulously maintained, each plate polished to prevent rust, each strap checked for wear, each hinge carefully oiled. This is not the work of servants alone. Your life may one day depend on the reliability of this steel cocoon. Many hours of your week are spent simply maintaining the tools that may, or may not, keep you alive. Meals are simple affairs. A coarse bread, perhaps some cheese, dried meats, and weak ale to wash it down. On fortunate days, there may be stewed vegetables or roasted game, but extravagance is rare outside of noble courts. You eat not for pleasure, but for strength. Your afternoons are consumed by the horses, your second lifeline in battle. You care for your destrier, the powerful warhorse that carries you into danger. These beasts are valuable and demanding. Grooming, feeding, training, all require patience and attention. The stable air is thick with the scent of sweat, straw, and manure, and the work leaves your back stiff and hands calloused. And then there are the endless drills on horseback, practicing the charge, controlling the steed at full gallop, perfecting your lance technique. Each session leaves your body aching, your thighs bruised from the impact of the saddle. The code of chivalry, that much celebrated ideal, is more burden than comfort. You are expected to be honorable, but also ruthless in battle, merciful, yet unyielding, loyal to your lord, even if his ambitions drag you into conflicts far from home. Each day is a careful balancing act between the ideals you are sworn to uphold and the harsh realities you must endure. The risks extend far beyond the battlefield. Politics swirl like invisible currents beneath the surface of every alliance. A poorly chosen word at court, a perceived slight to a more powerful lord, even a minor misstep could cost you your land, your title, or your life. The sword is not your only weapon. You must also master diplomacy, reading the veiled intentions behind every glance and gesture. When battle does come, it is neither glorious nor clean. Sieges can last for months. Cold, hunger, and disease taking more lives than swords or arrows. The clatter of catapults, the groan of siege engines, the cries of wounded men, all echo beneath the gray skies. You stand atop the ramparts, exposed to arrows, fire, and the slow, creeping dread of uncertainty. And in open battle, even the best armor offers no guarantee. A lucky blow, a fall from your horse, a crushing strike from a mace or axe, each could end you swiftly or leave you broken. The chaos of combat is deafening, disorienting. The ground becomes slick with mud and blood. The air grows thick with the metallic tang of iron and sweat. And yet, you must press forward, because retreat is often more dangerous than the charge itself. At night, you return to your tent or hall, if you are fortunate enough to survive, your body battered, your mind haunted by the faces of those who did not. Sleep comes fitfully, broken by the dull ache of your bruises and the weight of your duty. This is the rhythm of your life, a constant struggle, a delicate balance between discipline and danger, between duty and death. And yet, you endure. In the quiet of your chamber, you stare into the flickering light of the tallow candle, its flame swaying gently with the draft. The world outside your stone walls may be unpredictable, but for now, in this small space, there is stillness. Transition to segment 2. As the candle burns low, let us now turn our attention to one knight whose story has echoed across centuries. A man of ambition, crusade, and ultimately of tragic fate. We begin the story of Richard the Lionheart. Imagine yourself now, not as a simple knight, but as a king. The year is 1189. The sun rises gently over the stone towers of England's castles, casting long shadows across the rolling hills. You are Richard Plantagenet, soon to be known by history as Richard the Lionheart. Even as a child, you were not destined for a quiet life. Born to King Henry II and Eleanor of Aquitaine, your childhood was shaped by power, expectation, and political intrigue. Your family is one of Europe's most powerful and most volatile. The court is a world of whispered plots, shifting alliances, and the constant pull of ambition. From a young age, you are trained for war. Sword in hand, you learn the brutal art of medieval combat, your instructors drilling into you the importance of strength, discipline, and cunning. You learn to lead men, to inspire loyalty and to navigate the treacherous waters of politics. When your father passes, you ascend to the throne at just 32 years old. But the throne of England is not enough. Your eyes, like those of many rulers of your time, turn toward the Holy Land, the Crusades, driven by religious fervor, personal ambition, and the complex politics of Christendom. You embark on the Third Crusade. Your mission: to reclaim Jerusalem from the forces of Saladin, one of the most formidable leaders of the Islamic world. The journey is long, arduous, and filled with danger. You cross seas thick with the smell of salt and tar, and lands blistered by the relentless sun. Supplies are scarce, disease is rampant, soldiers grow weary, but your reputation as a warrior precedes you. You are bold, decisive, and utterly fearless in battle. In 1191, you lead your forces to the siege of Acre, a crucial stronghold. The siege is brutal and drawn out, but eventually the city falls. Thousands of prisoners are taken, but here your legend grows darker. With limited resources and ongoing negotiations with Saladin faltering, you make a cold, calculated decision. Thousands of prisoners are executed, a grim reminder of the cruel calculus of war. Yet even amid such grim realities, tales of your bravery spread. At the Battle of Arsuf, your leadership turns the tide against Saladin's forces. Sword raised, you cut through the chaos, inspiring your men with your courage. But Jerusalem remains out of reach. Political complications, dwindling supplies, and fragile alliances prevent you from retaking the holy city. Eventually, negotiations with Saladin bring a temporary truce. Pilgrims are permitted to visit Jerusalem, but the city remains under Muslim control. The crusade ends, but your journey does not. On your return to England, fate takes a cruel turn. While traveling through Europe in disguise, you are captured near Vienna by Duke Leopold V of Austria, a former ally turned enemy. You are handed over to the Holy Roman Emperor Henry VI, who demands an enormous ransom for your release. The people of England are burdened with heavy taxes to meet the ransom, an enormous sum equivalent to several years of royal income. But eventually, after over a year in captivity, you are freed and return to your kingdom. Yet even then, peace eludes you. Your younger brother, John, has schemed against you in your absence. Your kingdom requires stabilizing, your authority reasserted. Old enemies stir, and once again, you are drawn back into the endless struggles that define your reign. In 1199, you lay siege to the castle of Chalus-Chabrol in France, seeking to suppress a rebellion. The air is thick with the scent of spring, wildflowers blooming amidst the tension of battle. As you patrol the siege line, a crossbow bolt strikes you, piercing your shoulder. The wound is not immediately fatal. At first, there is hope for recovery, but infection soon sets in. In an age before modern medicine, such wounds often carry a far deadlier consequence than the initial injury. As days pass, the infection spreads. Fever rises. Your once powerful body weakens. In the dim light of your chamber, surrounded by loyal knights and servants, you quietly slip away at the age of 41. Thus ends the life of Richard the Lionheart, a king remembered for his battlefield valor, his uncompromising ambition, and his tragic fall. Even now, centuries later, his legacy echoes through the stone corridors of history, not as a romantic legend alone, but as a man who lived and died under the crushing weight of power duty and the endless conflict of his era. Transition to segment 3 as the final chapter of Richard's life closes. We turn our gaze now to the shadows of mystery, to another order of knights who vanished from history under a cloud of secrecy, leaving behind whispers of hidden treasures and secret knowledge. We begin the story of the lost Templar treasure. Now, imagine yourself once more drifting further back into the quiet corridors of history. The year is 1119. The setting, Jerusalem, a city still adjusting to its new reality under Christian control after the First Crusade. In the wake of the conquest, a small band of knights comes together, swearing solemn oaths, not of conquest, but of protection. They call themselves the poor fellow soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, though history will remember them more simply as the Knights Templar. At first, their mission is humble. They patrol the dangerous roads of the Holy Land, defending pilgrims traveling to sacred sites. Their early years are marked by modest means, austere living, and strict monastic discipline. The rhythm of their days is one of prayer, training, and duty. Imagine the cold stone chambers where they sleep, the simple bread and wine that sustains them, and the constant repetition of scripture and ritual. Yet as time passes, their power grows. With the support of powerful patrons, including kings and popes, the Templars evolve into something far greater than a military order. They become bankers, landowners, and financiers of monarchs. Their network of preceptories stretches across Europe and the Holy Land, their vaults filled with wealth entrusted to their protection. Their distinctive white mantles, emblazoned with a red cross, become symbols of both piety and influence. The Templars' rise is steady, methodical, and in many ways inevitable. They develop an early form of international banking, allowing nobles and pilgrims to deposit wealth in one location and withdraw it in another. Their order grows wealthy, immensely wealthy, and with wealth comes envy. By the early 14th century, their fortunes take a darker turn. In France, King Philip IV, known to history as Philip the Fair, finds himself deeply in debt to the Templars. His treasury is strained, his ambitions great, and so he turns against them. In the early hours of Friday, October 13th, 1307, a date that will give rise to lingering superstitions, Philip orders the sudden arrest of the Templars throughout France. The knights are accused of heresy, blasphemy, and unspeakable crimes. The charges, likely fabricated or exaggerated, serve a convenient purpose: to justify the seizure of their vast assets. The arrests are swift and overwhelming. The Templars are imprisoned, interrogated, tortured. Many confess to strange rituals under duress, while others maintain their innocence. The once proud order crumbles under the weight of political betrayal. In 1312, under pressure from Philip, Pope Clement V officially dissolves the order. But as the Templars vanish, so too does much of their wealth. And here begins the mystery that endures to this day. What became of the Templars' treasure? Despite extensive royal seizures, rumors swirl that a portion of their immense riches, gold, relics, secret documents, was hidden away before their downfall. Whispers suggest secret tunnels beneath Paris, hidden vaults scattered across Europe, and even ships fleeing westward across the seas. Some stories speak of a secret knowledge, ancient scrolls, holy relics, perhaps even the Holy Grail, concealed forever beyond the reach of kings and popes. Others claim that surviving Templars integrated into secret societies, preserving their traditions in hidden brotherhoods that persist to this very day. Of course, much of this remains speculation. Historians continue to debate. No definitive treasure has ever been found. And yet, from dusty archives to remote castles, from secretive brotherhoods to popular fiction, the legend of the Templars' lost treasure continues to capture the imagination. Perhaps this very mystery, unresolved and unconfirmed, is part of its enduring power. The gentle lure of the unknown, the possibility that beneath ancient stones, beneath forgotten earth, some trace of the Templars' final secret still lies waiting. As the echoes of the Templars fade into shadow, let us turn our attention to another world entirely, one of elegance and privilege, a life far removed from the hardships of battle, where the elite of European nobility wove their own intricate webs of power, alliance, and quiet danger. We now enter the courts of European nobility. Imagine yourself now stepping through towering, gilded gates into a world of whispered conversations, embroidered silks, and polished marble halls. This is the court of European nobility. The atmosphere is hushed, but alive. Candlelight flickers softly across golden tapestries. The air is thick with the scent of burning beeswax, perfumes of lavender and rose, and distant hints of roasted meats from the kitchens below. The floor beneath your feet is smooth, cool stone, worn gently by countless steps over the years. Here, in these palatial spaces, life flows according to a rhythm very different from that of the knights on the battlefield. Yet, in its own way, it is no less demanding for the noble class. Every moment is an act of careful performance. The day begins not with swords and armor, but with ceremony. You awaken to the gentle rustle of silk curtains drawn back by servants. Sunlight streams through tall windows, warming intricately embroidered bed linens. Attendants assist in your dressing, each layer of fine clothing carefully chosen to reflect your status. Velvet, brocade, lace, garments not for comfort, but for display. Your appearance speaks volumes. Every ruffle, every jeweled clasp, every tailored cut signals your wealth, your alliances, your ambitions. The court watches, always watches. Meals are elaborate affairs. Great halls fill with the murmur of conversation, the clinking of silver, and the subdued harmonies of minstrels. Trays of roasted game birds, fresh fruits, delicate pastries, and imported wines parade across the long tables. Yet beneath the feast lies constant tension, for dining at court is as much a political theater as a social indulgence. Here, alliances are forged or broken over whispered conversations between courses. A misplaced word, a misinterpreted glance, even an absence from the right table at the right time can alter your fortunes. Marriage, too, is rarely a matter of personal choice. Unions are strategic, carefully negotiated between families to secure power, land, or peace. Young nobles are often betrothed as children, their futures decided long before they reach adulthood. Love, if it arrives at all, is a fortunate accident. Beyond the feasts and banquets, entertainment fills the long days and nights. Masquerades dazzle with glittering masks, their anonymity offering brief escapes from rigid social roles. Hunting parties roam manicured forests, where falcons circle overhead, and the thrill of the chase echoes through the trees. Theaters present plays, some celebrating the court, others daring to mock it in subtle ways. Yet beneath the surface of splendor lies a world of constant calculation. Favors must be earned, and debts are often quietly called in. Courtiers maneuver like pieces on an elaborate chessboard, vying for the king's ear, the queen's favor, or a coveted position. Gossip flows like an invisible current through the palace corridors, a soft, persistent hum in every salon and chamber. Those who fail to navigate the delicate politics of court risk falling from grace. Exile, disgrace, or financial ruin can descend with startling speed. A misplaced alliance, a poorly timed remark, or the rise of a new rival may undo years of careful positioning. And yet, for all its dangers, many aspire to the court. The privileges are undeniable. Lavish estates, fine art, exquisite clothing, and unrivaled influence are rewards reserved for those who can master its intricacies. As evening settles over the palace, candlelight glimmers like stars across vast halls. Soft music drifts through the air as nobles dance beneath high vaulted ceilings, their movements graceful, practiced, and precise. And as you observe them, you begin to sense the quiet irony of noble life. Though far removed from the mud and blood of the battlefield, the world of court is its own kind of war, one of words instead of weapons, of glances instead of arrows, and ambitions that strike as sharply as any blade. Here, too, is the constant struggle, transition to conclusion, and so, as we slowly draw back from these distant chambers of history, from battlefields, throne rooms, and secretive orders, let us gently return to the present. And now, we find ourselves slowly returning from the winding roads of history, from the exhausting days of a knight's training yard, to the dangerous ambitions of Richard the Lionheart, to the whispered legends of the vanished Templar treasure, and finally, to the quiet, intricate dance of power within the marble halls of Europe's nobility. Each thread we have followed tonight offers a glimpse into a world so very different from our own, and yet, in many ways, still familiar. The struggle for survival, the weight of duty, the pursuit of power, the longing for safety, comfort, and rest. As you lay here now, safe in the stillness of this present moment, you are far from the chill of the stone castles, far from the clang of swords, far from the calculating whispers of royal courts. The worries of the past have faded. The flickering torches have burned down to soft embers. The distant drums of battle are now silent. Only calm remains. You are free to rest now, gently, peacefully, letting your thoughts drift like quiet sails on a still sea. The world of history will remain, waiting patiently whenever you wish to return. But for now, allow yourself to sink deeper into rest. Good night.